The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, but few places were as infamous as the planet known simply as Kale 7. To outsiders, it was a barren wasteland, a desolate sphere where survival seemed impossible. Yet to those who called it home, Kale 7 wasn't just survivable, it was thrilling. The inhabitants had adapted to their harsh environment over centuries, turning its dangers into games that tested every ounce of skill, courage, and cunning. When an alien fleet from the Vrex Dominion arrived in orbit around Kale 7, they thought they were dealing with primitives. Their scouts reported back images of crude settlements carved out of volcanic rock, primitive weapons forged from scrap metal, and people whose bodies bore scars earned through countless battles against nature itself. It all seemed so simple, so easy. A quick conquest, some resource extraction, and then onward to bigger prizes. But what the invaders didn't know, and what would soon become painfully clear, was that these primitives weren't afraid of anything. Not pain, not death, not even superior technology. And when push came to shove, the warriors of Kale 7 played harder than anyone else in the universe. Captain Aaron stood at the helm of his flagship, staring down at the swirling storms of Kale 7 on the view screen. His species, the Vrexans, were tall bipedal creatures with shimmering silver skin and elongated limbs designed for speed and precision. They prided themselves on being one of the most advanced civilizations in the cosmos, conquering weaker worlds with ease. But something about this particular mission made him uneasy. "Commander," said Lieutenant Wren, his second in command, breaking the silence, "our ground forces are ready to deploy. Shall we proceed?" Wren hesitated. He couldn't explain why, but unease gnawed at him like a persistent shadow. Still, orders were orders. "Yes," he finally replied. "Send them down. Let's see what these savages have to offer." Within minutes, dropships descended through Kale 7's turbulent atmosphere, carrying squads of heavily armed Vrexan soldiers clad in sleek black armor. As they touched down near one of the largest settlements, the air shimmered with heat waves rising off the cracked earth. Dust devils danced across the landscape, and jagged mountains loomed ominously in the distance. The first thing the Vrexans noticed was the silence. No alarms blared, no panicked screams echoed through the settlement. Instead, the humans, because that's what they were, despite their rough appearance, simply watched as the invaders disembarked. Some leaned casually against walls, while others sat cross-legged on the ground, sharpening crude blades or tinkering with makeshift rifles. None showed any sign of fear. One of the villagers stepped forward. She was older, her face lined with age and experience, her hair streaked with gray. Her name was Mira, though the Vrexans wouldn't learn that until much later. She raised a hand in greeting, her expression unreadable. "You're late," she said in broken galactic standard, the universal trade language. "We've been expecting you." Lieutenant Vok, the leader of the ground team, sneered behind his helmet. "Expecting us? You think we care about your petty resistance? Surrender now, and we might show mercy." Mira tilted her head, amused. "Mercy? That's cute. Tell me, soldier, do you know what we do for fun here?" Before Vok could respond, another figure emerged from the crowd. This one was younger, muscular, and carried himself with the confidence of someone who'd faced death countless times and laughed in its face. His name was Jace, and he wore a grin that sent chills down the spines of the Vrexans. "We pin ourselves against predators twice our size," Jace said, gesturing toward the wilderness beyond the settlement. "We race across lava fields faster than your machines can fly. We hunt beasts that could tear apart your strongest warriors without breaking a sweat. And today," he paused, letting his words sink in, "today we get to play with you." The Vrexans exchanged nervous glances. Was this some kind of joke? These humans couldn't possibly believe they stood a chance against advanced weaponry and superior numbers, could they? Vok decided enough was enough. With a curt order, his troops raised their rifles and opened fire. Energy bolts crackled through the air, striking several villagers. But instead of collapsing in terror or fleeing in panic, the humans laughed. Laughed. "They always start with the guns," Mira muttered under her breath, shaking her head. Then louder. "All right, kids, time to teach these shiny boys how we handle guests." In an instant, chaos erupted. The villagers moved with startling speed and coordination, scattering in all directions. Some delved behind cover, while others charged straight at the Vrexans, dodging energy blasts with uncanny agility. Jace leaped onto the nearest soldier, disarming him with a single fluid motion before slamming him to the ground. Another villager hurled a spear with such force that it pierced clean through a Vrexan's armor. But it wasn't just brute strength that gave the humans the upper hand, it was their knowledge of the terrain. Traps hidden beneath the surface snapped shut on unsuspecting invaders, sending them tumbling into pits lined with sharp stakes. Explosive charges planted long ago detonated, creating shockwaves that scattered the Vrexan ranks. Meanwhile, Captain Aaron watched the carnage unfold from orbit. His jaw tightened as reports poured in from the surface. Casualties mounted rapidly, and still the humans pressed forward, relentless and fearless. What are they? He whispered more to himself than anyone else. They're hunters, replied Lieutenant Rin, who had begun piecing together the truth. Look at their movements, their tactics. They don't fight like soldiers. They fight like predators. Every aspect of their culture revolves around surviving and thriving in conditions that would kill most species within hours. And now they're using those skills against us. Aaron realized grimly. Order the retreat. Pull everyone back to the ships. It was too late. By the time the remaining Vrexans regrouped and fled to their dropships, nearly half their forces lay dead or captured. As the last vessel lifted off the ground, Mira and Jace stood side by side, watching them go. They'll be back, Mira said matter-of-factly. Let them come, Jace replied, cracking his knuckles. We'll be waiting. Back aboard the flagship, Captain Aaron paced furiously. Never before had his people suffered such a humiliating defeat. Not only had they underestimated their enemy, but they had also failed to understand the true nature of Kale 7. It wasn't just a planet. It was a crucible forging its inhabitants into something far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. As he stared once again at the view screen showing the storm-ravaged surface of the planet below, he felt a chill run down his spine. For the first time in his life, Aaron understood what it meant to truly fear. Because if there was one thing the warriors of Kale 7 excelled at, it was making sure no one ever forgot the price of crossing them. And they did it all for fun.